Hello everyone, so welcome back. So I had promised that I would return to you with some footage of me applying the Rustins plastic coating you can see here in the background, and I've done most of the work before this video. So the back is done, one coat. I'm going to do another, but it's all covered, the neck, the headstock, everything. So I'm just going to finish doing the front here, and I'm just spilling on a bit onto the surface, and I'm using a clean, pretty strong paper towel here, like a kitchen towel. I used a Plenty brand, so they're the only ones that really work. And I'm just rubbing it around, kind of like a French polish, I guess, or like how you would apply a wood oil. And just as it starts to set, I'll even out the splodges. It does dry quite quickly, and it is quite strong, like pollutant wise, so I am conscious of working quickly. Maybe why I didn't do a video earlier, because it's not something that you just want like laying around. This plastic stuff, if it goes wrong, you need to quickly adjust and do a clean up and so on. So just making sure I've got the main heavy areas of use where there's enough on it. Part of the pain of using a stain with this stuff is that it seems to smear quite a lot. I'd be interested to see what Brian did with that issue, because as the coating goes on, it picks up quite a lot of stain, as you can see, and you don't want the binding to be covered with red tint after you've spent hours and hours scraping it like I had earlier. It's one part of the process. Oh yeah, I did share, actually. Take it back. I did share that part of the process. So what I'll do now is, once this is all spread in, I'll come back in with the blade, and I'll just make sure that any areas that's got particularly red surface to it because of the smearing of the dye, I just take it off and wipe it back onto the paper towel. Yeah, it's working quite well. I'm not overly fussed about it being like an immaculate finish, because this is modelled after the Red Special's current condition. It will be looking like a guitar that's been around for many years. Sorry Brian, not that many years. It's been a great learning curve in terms of new processes, because I didn't know that much about the Red Special when I started this project, but it's been cool to read about it. It's an interesting guitar in terms of switching options as well. I'm looking forward to putting it back together and learning how the phase and the parallel switching works on this with the three-way switch. It's pretty cool, kind of like a Jaguar crossed with some kind of Les Paul. Nice. Just getting to the point now where I'm sort of scraping some binding and it's making flakes, and I don't really want that to set inside the plastic, so It's not fun right now. But as Alex Turner says, my mistakes are made for you. I'm not worried about also the binding not having coating on it at this point. I just prefer it not to have the red stuff on it. The reason why is because I'm going to come back and do another coat. So seeing as this will dry, it will eliminate the problem of the stain that was there before. So as soon as it's dried, that stain moving around and being on the binding won't be an issue, is what I mean. Let's get a bit more over here. You can see it's a bit dry. It's been a scorching day here in London. May, very hot May day. Red hot May. Apt for this project. That's looking great. I've got the colour just right now, I think. It's not that cheap cherry colour, it's that brown mahogany faded stain vibe. The back's slightly more cherry, but still it's retaining that browny ambery kind of tone to it in the background. So now that coating is on, I'll give you a closer look, because you don't have to worry about it being too textured at this point. I'm going to put another coat on, and then once that dries we'll come back in and do some fine sanding, and then maybe do a very final thin coat on top of that. It gets easier every time because the stain isn't moving around, and because the first coat usually has to be one of the thinnest, and then it's a lot of faffing around to get it level with the napkin as it's drying. But then the later coats can be nice and heavy, then you let them dry, then you sand it, wet sand it, level and buff. But I think it's looking pretty damn good. I'm really happy with it. I need to do the front of the headstock, but I'll just go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll come back and see how it looks before I start wet sanding and polishing, and then the fun part, which is putting it all back together with gold strings, and seeing how our concentrations paid off in results. Thanks a lot.